Alright, hello everyone, it's Teamrocketdraws here with another Pokemon drawing tutorial. And for this video, guys, we're gonna be drawing one of the legendary Pokemon, Deoxys. So as you guys can see on screen, this is how he ends up looking like. So if you guys want to learn how to draw him, then let's get started. I'm also gonna put up a reference right now on screen, that way it's easier for you guys to draw, and at the same time you guys to get all your details. So just remember, guys, that we're gonna start off by doing a sketch, and then from there on you guys are gonna do your final drawing. So just keep that in mind. And also, if the video is too slow, then you guys could just skip throughout the video, you know, at your pace. Or if it's too fast, then just pause the video as you go, you know. So yeah, so Deoxys was actually highly requested, so here you guys go. So first we're gonna start out by doing the head. So just do this like circle, but if you guys notice, it's between a circle and an oval shape, so just try to remember that. And now that we have that, we're gonna do basically like his face, you know, like the blue part on his head, which is basically his face. So now that we have that, one thing that can help us out is just curving this line right here that I'm doing, and then just doing it the same on the other side, you know. Try to like get this like football shape. And you guys notice right there, before I did it, I erased that line, you know, because of the circle. It's just to make it a little bit better, since his face is not an actual circle, you know. So there we go, guys. So hopefully, and remember, do the lines or everything, the shapes, as close as you can to mine. That way it's easier to follow, because if you guys don't do it the same, then it's kind of gonna be hard for you guys to draw Deoxys as you guys go. So right here I do this line, but to be honest, guys, I end up making it too long. Basically what I was trying to show you guys is it's a little bit longer than the actual face, but if I could go back, I would do it a little bit shorter. Here you guys see that I'm using my finger, so don't do it as long as I have it here. It doesn't look bad, but just comparing it to the reference, I made it too long, you know, like his chest area. So just try to make it basically the same length as the face, going up and down. Alright, so now that we have that, we're gonna do this right here, basically like half a circle. We are going to be doing a full circle in a little bit, almost like an oval shape, not an exact circle. And now that we have that, we can start by doing the top, like the top of the shoulder. So let's say from the bottom to the top, if we do a straight line, it should be a little bit higher than halfway. I think I erased that in a little bit, and I make it a little bit shorter, maybe halfway. Right here I do a little bit higher than half of the circle, but yeah, I erase it and I do a little bit shorter just because it looked too big, you know. So I gotta say around half of the oval shape that we did, we could just do this line and connect it to there. And now for the rest, it's gonna be a little bit easier to do the bottom part. All we have to know is it starts around here, and then once it like starts curving, it lines up with the face, with the oval shape that we did for the head. So I do that reference line just to help us do this shape right here, and then we could just connect it to this one over here. And one of the things that you guys might want to pay attention to is that that shape, the middle line going across that right here, as I'm pointing out, both sides should basically be the same. It should be almost even. If you guys notice, the bottom one on mine is a little bit bigger, but it's just, it doesn't have to be perfect, you know. Now that we have that a little bit to the left of the actual face, we're gonna do like his stomach or his waist, you know. And right here I'm just pointing out that it should basically be the same length as the shoulder right there, like half of the shoulder in the chest area. So there we go. He has a thin waist, guys, especially because he's like leaning forward a little bit, you know. He's like hunched back. So just try to do this as close as you can. Right here I was looking for a paper just so I could show you guys. So basically half, so I do a line right there. You guys can use a paper like I'm doing it here, just to make it a little bit easier. So now if I measure it, it should basically be the same, almost the same length, you know. Right there I guessed, and I almost got it right. The top also. So as long as that's like the same, you know, then we're pretty much good. You guys don't have to measure it, you know. It's just to show you guys, to give you guys an example, you know. That way you guys can understand me a little bit better. So there we go. So this is where I do the circle, and this is where I start noticing that it's way too long, like his chest area, that line. So if I would have done it a little bit shorter, it would have been a little bit better, but it's not a big change, you know. It's not like a big deal. So now from the same, I guess the same length as the stomach right there, we're gonna do a line, and then we could just basically do like this circle right here, with the top being flat, and the bottom is actually flat too if you guys look at the reference, but I don't do that right now. I do that later on. You know, I'm doing shapes right now just to make it a little bit simple. Now that we have that, we could do this leg, and right here I do a reference line going across the end of his shoulder, just to show you guys how far it actually goes. And his legs are actually pretty long, and then the other one starts around here, and this one's like at an angle. So if we do a line at the bottom of the other line, we know that this one is not going to meet up with that line. You know, it's a little bit higher, but what we're trying to do is have both of those lines the same length. You know, we don't want one of Deoxys legs a little bit shorter than the other, so we could do those the same length, but just one a little bit more at an angle, you know. So right here I do a line, and basically trying to show you guys is the same length as the earlier, the waist, you know, and the shoulder. And now that we have that line, we know how thick it is. We could just connect it. So this one goes up to that waist right there. And if you guys notice, like where the knee is, it's a little bit thinner than where the leg meets the waist. So now the same length for this leg is basically the same length as the other one on top. We basically cut the leg in half, you know, so it's a little bit easier to know and make and know how long to make it. Right here I didn't like the angle, so I fixed it a little bit because I noticed that the reference has it more straight than I was doing it, you know. Mine was the knee was bending a little bit, so we could just connect it. There we go. And if you guys notice, his foot or his leg doesn't end at a sharp point. It's a little bit round at the bottom. Right here I'm making mine a point, but we could just round it off later on, or you guys could just do it right now. So now the same thing, the length of the waist, we're gonna do this line on this side, in the knee area. And now that we know how thick the leg is gonna be, we can just connect it to the top once again, to like the waist area. There we go. Now the same thing, this line should be the same length as the others, as the top one. You guys can measure it, or you guys could just guess. Right there I like where I placed it because I wanted them to be basically line up. So I do this reference line going from the other one just so I can know that it lines up a little bit, because if you guys look at the references, basically they line up a little bit, you know. So I wanted to do that as well. So just doing that reference line going from one to the other just makes it a little bit easier, you know, to do the length of the legs and everything. So I recommend you guys doing that whenever you guys are doing like any drawings, you know, like just use those reference lines just to compare, and it just makes it a lot easier and it comes out a lot better, you know. It's just a matter of getting used to doing those reference lines and not getting confused, you know. So right here I erase them. That's one of those reasons that I like erasing those reference lines, just so you guys won't get confused, because we just did them just to make it a little bit easier to do everything else. And now we can split the face basically in half, but it's not a straight line, it actually curves. It follows like the shape of the head, and it's not exactly in the middle. It's actually a little bit more to the right, closer to the right than it is to the left. Now that we have that, we can start by doing one of these spikes that he has in the head, and it goes to around there. And this one's curved right here. I think I do mine a little bit too straight, but it curves a little bit more, you know. Maybe if I would have done the first line on top a little bit more straight instead of facing to top right, it would have looked a little bit better. Now around the middle right there, we're gonna do that line, and the only reason we're doing that is just to make the this one right here and the eye in a little bit. So we basically split it in half, you know. And that line, knowing that that's half, it basically lines up with this spike right here, so we could just follow it. Now we know it ends around there, right where the red meets the blue, basically the face. We could just do this one, and it should actually be a little bit more pointy. Right there I rounded off the edge or the point. Now that we have that, guys, we can start by doing this orb that he has like in the center of his chest. It's basically an oval shape, you know. Now that we have that, we could just connect right here the leg, the bottom from the top. And now we could do the inside, like this gray part that goes into his in this circle right here. It's a straight line, and then it just curves upward. I don't do it exactly the same, guys, but you guys can look at references to get a better idea of how to do it. But like I said, it's just a sketch, you know. The details we could work them out later on once we do our final drawing. It's a lot easier to make any changes, you know, because you basically have your whole drawing there. Alright, so now for the one of the arms. So I know it ends around there, you know, and it comes out from here. So now what we could do is just basically connect them, make a loop. Right now, what I noticed, I erase it right now because I noticed that this arm actually goes a lot higher than his head does. So I do basically, I gotta say around here. So I do a reference line just to make it a little bit easier to know how high to do the arm right here. And it curves in. And for now, we're just gonna do one line. There we go. I still don't do mine as high as the reference does, but it doesn't have to be the same. So now the other one starts around there, and it should basically end here. So now once again, I could just and this one actually lines up with the top of his head right there at the spike. So I do a reference line. You guys don't have to do those reference lines as long as you guys remember, you know, and you guys are looking where you're placing it. But if it helps, then might as well, you know. There we go. Now for the blue ones. So I know this one ends around there, so I can start it off there. Now that I know where to end it, I know now I need to look where I started. So then it just curves around there and it starts basically where the other one does. So like always, guys, if you guys seen my other videos, I always tell you to do the beginning and do the end, you know, because that way you know where it has to end, and you know where to start, and then you guys could just meet up in the middle. So this one's around there. It's actually a little bit higher. I do change that later on, but it doesn't matter if you guys leave it like I do right here. So basically right here I'm trying to show you guys it doesn't go further than the one on top. The one on top goes more further than the blue one. So that's a small thing that you guys can look at. And now we can just connect it up here. Kind of looks like a butterfly right now. Alright, so now that we have that, guys, we basically got the rough sketch of Deoxys. Now it's just about erasing these reference lines if you guys also did them. That way they don't confuse us, you know. And now we could just start adding all the details, you know, making any changes. So he does have another spike right here that ends, and it starts around the middle of the face, and it just connects. There we go. And then the eye is actually a little bit lower than halfway, and it sticks out the same on either side of that line. And right here I do my eye too big, like it's really big right here, really thick. I do change that once I do my final drawing, although it almost looks the same thickness, but I try to make it a little bit thinner, you know, because right there it looks way big compared to the whole face. And then we could just do the eye, which is basically a circle. Right there I color in like the black part, that way you guys getting a better idea of how it looks, you know, just it looks a little bit better. But I do it way too big compared to the whole face, but it's alright. Alright, so now that we have that, we can start by doing the shapes right here, like the red part, the red stripe on his chest area. So we're gonna use that middle line that we placed, and then it goes into the orb that he has in his chest, connects around there. It should basically be the same thickness, the whole line right there. If you guys notice, the closer it gets to the orb, the smaller I did it. So I do change that later on, and I just make it the same thickness throughout that shape. It's basically like the red on his chest if you guys look at the reference. And then right here, it's not a straight line, you know, it's not like a sharp point. It actually curves. Looking at the reference, it's not a straight line, it curves, you know. I fixed that also later on. And then we could do the spike right here that comes out of his chest, out of his leg. And actually it should be a little bit higher because it basically lines up with the orb on his chest, but I make mine a little bit smaller, as you guys notice, so it doesn't really matter, but that's something you guys might want to do if you guys want to get a little bit closer to the reference. And just try to do those two triangles almost the same size, you know. And then right here I'm just doing this line that he has for like the darker area on his the inside of his leg. And now that we have that, we're gonna do the triangle that he has on his knee. So right where the knee is, we're gonna do this triangle shape. And then the same thing on the other side. Just look at where I'm placing it. You know, if you guys notice, it's not exactly in the middle of that line. And just try to do these triangles the same size. And now right here, the blue part is basically in the middle of the actual leg. So we're gonna use that line that we did to split the legs and do that line just so we can know where it's gonna go. And this one goes almost to the top of his leg, and then this one is around there. So now that we know where it actually goes, we could just connect it in the middle. Like before, we look for the end and the start, and then we just connect them. And that's basically like a straight line right there. It's not that straight on mine. Same thing on this side. So this one I know goes almost to the circle. It almost touches that circle that we did, the reference circle. And then this one's not in the middle. This one's really close to the edge. So I do that line, and now I know where to connect them. This one goes a lot lower. And then once again, now I know where this one should go, so I just basically connect them. Erase that middle line. It helped us a lot, so hopefully you guys did it also. So we can erase that line right there, that part of the circle that we did earlier, because it's actually not there. We just put it there just to help us place the leg. And then right here there's like a blue line, or like a blue shape that he has. Let's round it off. I think once I do my final drawing, I make it a little bit smaller right there. I think it's a little bit too big. And right here I forgot to do the other side, the other eye. It's all black basically, you know, you can barely see the other eye. Alright, so now that we have that, guys, we can start by doing the actual like arms. They're like whips. So just basically the points are like the ends and end at a point. So just try to make these like the same thickness. Right here, when I was doing it, I noticed that they were too thin, you know. I had to do a little bit more thicker. If you guys look at the reference, they're basically the same thickness as the eyes. So once I do my final drawing, I make these a little bit more thicker. Same thing on this side. Just, you know, it ends at a point, it gets thinner once it gets to the point. But just try to make them the same thickness, like all four of them. That one goes under, so I'm gonna do that. Just make sure where one, which one's on top, which are the red ones are at the top. So there's gonna be a gap. See, like right here on the sketch, they're a little bit too thin. They look like noodles. So this one is on top, and it basically is gonna be on the bottom right here, down here. We could just do it and then just connect them. If you guys notice, the lines are a little bit shaky, but like I said before, this is a sketch, you know. Once we do the final drawing, they're gonna look a lot better. But you guys could do the final drawing now. You guys could actually work on trying to do these the right thickness and the right shape, instead of doing trying to do them later. As long as you like where they're placed, then go ahead and just do it, you know. So now we could erase that middle line. It helped us a lot just by knowing where to place everything. We could erase this one. There's no line right there. So right here I'm basically finished with Deoxys. Now I'm just going over and erasing all those reference lines, the ones that he doesn't have, and just making them a lot better, you know, like any other ones. Like right there, I noticed these are like a straight line and then it goes up. I erased that corner because, like I said, it's rounded off. There's no like corner. The same thing right here. And then I know that he has like a circle inside of right there, so I just basically do it. And then so I erased the inside right there because there's no line. See, this is where I noticed, guys, that I did that too big, you know. the chest. It looks a little bit too big compared to the reference. So right there I'm erasing that part of the face because there's no line there, and it's starting to look a little bit better now, guys. So that's where I basically, so now erase the one on top, or the one in his forehead. He does have the long one going down though, but he doesn't have the one going across, so that's why you erase it there. So now we're gonna do these details right here that he has. They're like really thin lines that you guys can barely see right there on his chest. I mean on his stomach. This one curves up and then it goes there and it just goes back into the orb. I recommend looking at the reference just to get a better idea. And then I noticed that right there it doesn't go straight up, it actually connects onto the right. So I changed that and then it curves back up. So then I noticed that right here it actually lifts up, connects there. Once again, look at the reference just to get a better idea of what we're doing. So I like where everything is, guys. So that's my sketch right here. Just go over your drawing now and just make any changes to your drawing right now, to your sketch, you know. And once you know, once it's the way you guys want it, you know, once you're what should I say, what word am I looking for, once you like where everything is placed, you guys like the way it looks, then you guys could just finish it off. You know, right here what I do is I erase my whole drawing and then just start in one spot and then just go from there. You know, it makes the drawing look a lot cleaner. A lot of people, what they do is that they ink their outline and then once it's dry they erase it, or other people what they do is instead of erasing their sketch, they use like a different paper and then they just trace it on the other paper, their final outline. That way the other paper is a lot cleaner. So there's different ways that you guys could do it. Right here, like always, I erase it. And then right here I started off by doing like the forehead, the eyes, and then I started doing like the rest of the lines, you know. Then I went up to the chest, and that's the way I have it, you know. And if there's like also like the red line that you guys see in his coming out of his like orb in his chest, like I said before, I made it basically the same thickness. Before it got a lot thinner as once it got closer to the orb. So just make those changes now, you know. Use your reference. I could still see them. Probably you guys can still see them on the video too. The lines that are erased, even though I erased them, they're still there. So I'm just following those lines, you know, and just making any changes, looking at the reference and just making any changes that I feel are necessary, you know. Like I said, that's one of the things that I did change, but basically everything's the same. The eye I did a little bit smaller, although it looks the same size. The blue thing on his ear, basically, like the line, I did a lot thinner. Instead, before it was a lot thicker, you know, it looked a little bit weird, so I fixed that. And then I just made the lines a lot better, you know, and just went through looking at the reference and just basically finished the drawing, the outline. And I'm happy with it, although like I said before, I think I did the chest too long. But if you guys did it earlier, like the line a lot smaller, then it's probably a little bit better than mine. But that's basically how I start my final drawing, and it just looks a lot cleaner, you know. I work on the lines, trying to make them a little bit better, not too stiff, you know, try to round them off a little bit, and this is how it ends up looking like. This is the final outline. If you guys noticed, we got really close to the reference, but the only thing, like I said before, I didn't like the chest. It's a little bit too long compared to the reference. But if you guys look at just my drawing and not compare it to the reference, it's like it doesn't look that bad, you know. It still looks okay, but having the reference right there and comparing it, it's obviously too long. You can tell by the length, the space between the ear and the red arm, you know. There's like a bigger gap in between mine than it is on the reference, but it's all right, you know. It's like I said before earlier, that's where I made my mistake, but it's still okay. I could have gone back and maybe fixed it, but I wasn't too I didn't mind it too much, in other words. Another thing that I did change, like I said earlier, was the thickness of the arms. I made them a lot thicker. If you guys look closely, you guys can see maybe where the lines were before, you know. Like I said at the beginning, it was the sketch, and then to do your final drawing, you guys can follow your sketch, but just make those changes to do the final one, you know. And like I said before, on the bottom on the left, the blue arm, the one on the left, before it would point like to his thigh, and now it's actually a little bit higher, just like the reference. Like I said earlier, that's one of those things that I changed. And basically that's it, guys. I kept everything the same. The only thing I did at the bottom of his like crotch area, before it was round, now if you guys look at it, it's like a straight line. If you guys look at the reference, it kind of looks like the one that Scyther and Scizor has. You know, it's the crotch area kind of looks the same. So I did that, and then I worked on the inside, the lines, the gray part a little bit, and basically that's it, guys. And then the rest I just didn't do them. I just followed the sketch, and I like where everything was, so I just kept it that way, you know. And I've been talking for a long time, guys. But yeah, so overall I think it came out good. I'm happy with it. And I did end up coloring it. As you guys can see here, I used my Prisma Premier color markers to color him. So he's basically red, blue, and gray. That's it, you know. And other than the orb, it's kind of like a purplish color. But basically that's it. And on the reference, it actually shows like maybe if he was doing like a orb or like lightning or something, you know. And then the lighter parts is like basically the light hitting him. But I didn't want to do that, you know. I basically wanted to kind of do it like that, but at the same time not take away so much color, because some of those areas are almost like pure white, you know, like on the face at the bottom. Instead of being red, on the reference is like white, because it's basically like the light shining on it, you know. Something that you guys could do just to copy the reference and have it like that is if you guys do like an orb, like he's making like an orb that he's about to shoot or something, you know, like hyper beam or something, that he's starting it, you guys could just erase the waist area and basically just leave it white. And then once you color it, you know, you guys could do the highlights like the reference has it, you know, where everything is. But I didn't do that. I basically just left the areas a little bit lighter, you know, and just the shadows where the shadows are. So I basically used red and then a little bit darker red for like the top of his head, you know. You guys might be able to see what I'm talking about. Also like in the inside of his legs, you know, like I did it a little bit darker. And I think that's it. And also another thing that I'm noticing now that I didn't notice before, just because I have the reference right there next to what they're drawing, you know, that his is a little bit more angled, like his shoulders aiming a little bit more to the top. Mine's like it's almost straight. So maybe that's another thing that you guys might want to change before you guys do your final drawing, but it's nothing bad, you know, it's okay. Maybe now just comparing them, mine looks a little bit weird, you know, but it's alright, like I said before. And then for the blue, I just used two different blues, regular blue and then like a baby blue for like the highlights. I try to keep it like the reference, but at the same time I didn't make it like almost white, you know. And basically that's it, guys. And then for the orb in his chest, I used a dark purple, and then once it dried I went over it with a gel pen, you know, just to give it like the little highlights on it. And then the same thing for the eye, I used the white gel pen just so it could be a little bit more white on the eye. You guys can see a little bit more. And then I also added like a dot on the other eye that you guys could barely see, just because he's looking to the left a little bit, you know. So I think it came out okay, guys. It's not exactly like the reference, but it still came out okay, I think. So hopefully you guys, your drawing came out good also, you know. Let me know in the comment section if you guys did end up drawing Deoxys right now. It just helps me, you know, lets me know how many people are doing, following the drawing, you know. And also let me know how it came out, if it came out good, if maybe you guys need help. You guys could always leave a comment, I'll be happy to help. And let me know if you guys did any changes to it, because like I said, it doesn't have to be like the reference and it doesn't have to be like mine. You guys can make any changes to your drawing. So if you guys made any changes, let me know in the comment section below. And basically that's it, guys. So hopefully you guys were able to do Deoxys. If it didn't come out good, don't get discouraged, you know. You can try again later, or maybe there's another video on YouTube or how to draw Deoxys that might be a little bit better. So you guys always have options, you know, and maybe just try again later, you know. On the second time that you attempt it, it might be a little bit better, since you basically know a little bit more of what's going on. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the tutorial, guys. Please leave a like it really helps on my channel, you know, especially now the way that YouTube changed. It just makes my videos more get out there, you know, so more people could watch them, more people could follow them, and basically so I could help more people. So I would really appreciate if you guys left a like and subscribe for more videos. I have over 150 drawing tutorials so far as of this video, so go check them out, and they're all Pokemon. My channel is mostly Pokemon, so you guys can go check them out. Also have playlist for Mega Pokemon, for Legendary, for starters, for Sun and Moon. So I have different playlists just to make it a little bit more easier on you guys. That way you guys won't have to go through all the videos, you know, because like I said, I have over 150, so that might make it a little bit easier. And if you guys want me, if there's a suggestion that you guys want for my next Pokemon to draw, you guys could always again leave a comment. But just remember, guys, that there's so many Pokemon and there's so many suggestions, so it might take a while for me to do it. And also you guys could always check my channel, maybe I already did it, you know. And also if you guys want to send in your drawings, like for example Deoxys right now, if you guys did end up drawing it, you can send it in to my email or Twitter. The links will be in the description. Just send them there and I'll post them at the beginning of my next video, like the one you saw on this one, like the drawing you saw on this one. So remember that you guys always have those options. So I guess I'm gonna end the video, guys. We hit the 30-minute mark, so I guess I'll just catch you guys on the next video. Team Rocket Draws out.